everybody, I'm Selena Brilla, and this is DIY Live, Huntsville, Alabama's YouTube channel dedicated to capturing the underground. And I'm here live today at WLRH Studios with none other than Mr. John Brad Posey.
How's it going?
It's of the Invisible City.
Yes.
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 Now, Invisible City airs what nights of the week?
Friday nights at 7, Saturday nights at 10 on 89.3 WLRH in Huntsville and also 104.5 in Fort Payne.
Now, how long have you been doing the Invisible City?
I always forget because I never realized that it has been much longer than it actually is, but I think it's been 11 years, maybe going on 12 years now.
Oh my goodness.
So
you've been having a heck of a good run.
Yeah. People seem to, they seem to like it at least enough that it stays on the air, which is all I can ask. So I don't think it's ever going to turn into some major thing, but it is for me. It's fun for me, and hopefully at least entertaining to enough people in the Tennessee Valley that they enjoy it. So
you have a very eclectic array of music that you play. You play all different sorts of music and local artists. Do you want to tell us about that? How you go about choosing the music you're going to play? Yeah,
the show is a little spazzy, and it basically, my personality is, I might listen to the Dead Kennedys for 5 minutes. I might listen to Miles Davis for 5 minutes. I might listen to Dolly Parton for 5 minutes. And so I tend to just jump from song to song to song. Sometimes I think it kind of flows. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it just kind of sounds like you're falling down the stairs, But it's very interesting because I have longtime listeners who they love and hate different aspects of the show.
Okay.
I have people who hate to hear me talk.
Oh.
And then I have people who love to hear me talk. And then I have people who are like, we wish you wouldn't play heavy metal, or we love that you play heavy metal, or we wish you would stop playing weird techno stuff that just goes on for like 10 minutes at a time. And then some people go, I really like the 10-minute long weird techno stuff that you play. So therefore, do you take any of these things they tell you into consideration? I do. I mean,
or do you run the show like you run the show?
Yeah, I the great thing about WLRH, Brett Tennahill has always let me do whatever I wanted to do, and so I was stuck in a time slot like Friday night at 7, so it was either you're going to sink or swim. Mm-hmm. So you've got enough people listening, and hopefully my goal is that you feel somewhat challenged, maybe, by what you're hearing. At least it's, I get so bored listening to Top 40 radio.
Yes, sir.
Like, I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, but I don't need to hear Jeremy 3 times in one day. And so for me, it's a lot more fun just to play like random things. Like I love thrift stores. I love to, if you can find a record store that still exists,
right?
Go to like the dollar bin, or better yet, go to the box that's marked free, because that's where the good stuff is.
I agree with you. I found some of the best stuff, and yes, just like that. Yes. So let's talk about your bands, because you are a musician and you play in bands.
Yeah. Let's see. I grew up in. I was born here in Huntsville. I grew up in Hazel Green and Lickskillet, Alabama, but I spent most of my junior high and high school years in Fayetteville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And there really wasn't a scene at all there. But, the punks and freaks and weirdos and queers always find each other. So we all find each other and we all go, okay, we got a thing. And so, I was in several different bands, and I could mention a whole lot of things, but like me and an old friend, Tony Dollar, have a band called Wrong Brothers, where we literally play any kind of music that we can think of. But I would say mostly it's kind of like a heavy metal punk thing, but we try anything. We've made hip hop records, we've made folk records, we've made music. We've made music that I'm proud of. We've made music I'm ashamed of. It's all over the map. I'm in a band called the Boneyard Mafia.
Yes,
that
sir.
is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not meant to be taken seriously in any shape or form. It's basically like mostly 30-second to minute-long noisy grindcore songs where the lead singer, Sick Dick Cox, screams obscenities, and he makes fun of the band.
Yep.
He makes fun of his mother.
Yep.
He makes fun of everything.
Talks about VD and
Yeah.
evil burritos and herpes and everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah, STDs, roadkill, lots of interesting topics.
Yes.
And
It is so much fun to see both Wrong Brothers and Boneyard Mafia. And like you said, don't take it seriously in any way,
Right.
shape, or form. Go with a mind of almost kind of like going to almost like a comedy show, but musically. It has a lot of that sort of element to it.
very, very cringy.
Yes.
Some dark comedy for sure.
Yes.
But it's all meant to be kind of, just, hey, have a laugh. Life is ridiculous. But the writer Lester Bangs, he said the worst thing you can do is to try to attach too much seriousness to art.
Nice.
And so I agree with that a lot, because as much as serious as I am about music and as much as I love music, I feel like that it's okay you can talk about God and you can talk about the big cosmic questions, and you can also make a fart joke every now and then. And it's okay, because that's all part of it.
Right? And birth babies on stage and do
Yeah.
gross things with hot dogs and like all
We've done
kinds of
that.
things.
Yeah. Sick Dick, he poured beans down his pants one
Yes,
show.
he did. I remember that show.
And then there were beans in the corners of Copper Top for a while.
Yes.
That you try
This
to
is
clean.
how I know they never watch the cameras when I booked shows.
Yeah.
Because they would threat, well, we're going to watch the camera, and I'm like, oh, then I'm not going to have a job. So I let them do all the gross things that they're not
Right.
supposed to do.
Right.
Yes.
And I actually have a new thing that some friends and I have put together, and it's kind of funny because I stole people from other bands who are extremely talented. I'm kind of like, I approach instruments like a person would approach a leaf blower. It's a tool to do a certain thing. Mm-hmm. It's not really, so I kind of surrounded myself. The band is called Traumavore. We have yet to play a live show. We do have an album on Bandcamp.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's Jacob Standridge
yes.
and Ethan from Posey and Slewfoot.
Yep.
It's Nate Emery, who's played with several different people. He's a fantastic drummer. And I just kind of noodled around on the keyboards a little bit. And but it's like a weird kind of instrumental, Melvin-y sort of funky, bluesy thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can find it on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And where can we find Wrong Brothers and Boneyard?
Oh, God. Those are more like kind of on the underground. You got to know a guy to know a guy.
To get a CD.
Yeah, because,
Yes.
I mean, the internet, the internet is pretty much, yeah.
I have a few, yes.
I think Wrong Brothers maybe has one or two things posted on Bandcamp, and I don't know if Bandcamp is ready for Boneyard Mafia.
I don't know if they can handle it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's
know.
ready for that.
Yes, I have several of those CDs, but I do always feel special when I get one because there's only so many in existence. It's like a painting that never doesn't get reprinted, and then you have it in your home,
Yeah.
and you get to have it. It's very special.
And we don't even really keep up with them ourselves, really.
Do you have
I mean,
any idea how many you've made?
We've made about 30 albums.
Boneyard?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
We've done about 20 or 30 albums, and I would say there's at least 3 good songs spread out in those 30, about 30 albums probably. Now, Wrong Brothers, on the other hand, it's almost like folk art. It's like it's like this weird thing that me and my buddy did since we were like kids. So you're talking like 1987.
Oh, wow.
Till now.
Yeah.
So and we still do it. I mean, no one cares. We're obviously not trying to get a record deal or even play shows. We are playing a show in September, but it's very weird. It's like you do these things and then you realize, oh, I've been doing this for 35 years.
Wow. Yes. When we interviewed Boozy Slewfoot the other day. We talked about you a little bit, and they described you in what I thought was the best way possible. That you're one of the people that never lost their childlike way of being in the world, and it's so expressed in the music and in the way that you live and the way you do things, but also in the way that you share. Like, you give so many local people their first chance to do something, their first time coming into a studio and being recorded, their first time being played on the radio. I mean, you asked me to sing a song with you on stage, and I did, and it was like, I've never done that before, but I bet I can try.
Well, yeah.
You know, and the first time I was on an album, you called me up and was like, can you talk about, talk shit about our dicks, and I did, and then I got to be on an album. Make fun of the band. You share with this community incredibly, like all of us. I mean, we all know you. You share so much of yourself with all of us, and we appreciate it.
Well, I am infinitely inspired by the local scene in Huntsville. I mean, I mean, it's hard for me to mention a band I don't like. There's, and I get to meet people, and they're 90% of the time they're super sweet. They're very talented. Like, I got to meet, I want to say her name was Michaela, maybe. She's one of the girls in Baby's Got a Knife with Brad.
Oh, right, his new project, yes.
I hope that's her name, but, she was so excited because the only singing she'd ever done had been in church.
Nice.
And so she gets to get up there and be a rock star for 30 minutes.
That's wonderful.
And to me, as long as we keep reliving those things, it keeps it new and it keeps it fresh, and, whether you're 60 or 16 or whatever, you can enjoy this thing called music and rock and roll, and share it with your friends.
Absolutely. Also, you're an artist. You collage and paint both.
Yeah, badly. Yeah,
wonderfully.
Yeah.
Like, I love getting to see your work, and I have a few of them that you've given me at my house, and I know that a lot. I mean, Tell me about that. Like, I've always wondered, are you at your house? Like, what draws you to create these paintings and collages?
My thing is I'm kind of obsessive compulsive about music, to the point of where I try not to drive people around me crazy with it, because it's really all I think about. Like, I might think about drum beats. I might think about bass lines. So, I get caught up in the little minutia of those things. And so the visual aspect of it is, I used to make album covers for whatever crappy band I was in. Mm-hmm. And eventually people were like, hey, can I have a copy of that? I really like that. And I'm like, okay, and then I started doing CDs and posters and flyers and everything. And every once in a while, like 1 out of 10 things I might like, but it's a lot of fun. And the interesting thing for me, I don't know about the two of you, mm-hmm. but the interesting thing for me is it totally, I know you paint some too, mm-hmm. and it opens up a whole other doorway in your brain, mm-hmm. because once you start thinking visually, you start seeing things all around you, and then you're like, oh, I could take a picture of that, or I could mix this with this, or whatever. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, I'm really bad at painting, but the collage thing, you're just stealing from other people. So it's like you just sort of do a remix of something else with a few other components, and you can go, oh, look, I made this thing that I barely contributed to at all, except I just cut some things out of a magazine and stuck it together.
I would give you so much more credit than that, especially seeing them and owning some of them. And I think they're fantastic.
Thank you.
And you also write. I have one of your books of poetry, and we've been on Out Loud Huntsville together and stuff like that.
Yeah, Out Loud is awesome. That's another awesome local thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I laugh about this all the time, but it's like I wish I had been born with some kind of gift where you actually could make money at it. Like, I'm very creative.
Extremely creative.
But I don't, it's never one of those things like, oh yeah, Posey cured brain cancer. No, he just doodled in a notebook for an hour. That's about it. But yeah, I'm excited about art in general. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, Ann Sexton or Charles Bukowski or, you can, I can get anything out of anything. But going back to what we were talking about as far as like serious things and silly things, you know, at the end of the day, like the Mona Lisa is amazing.
Yeah.
But I would rather watch an episode of Rick and Morty. You know, as far as like, you know, like both have equal merit in, you know, what is, you know, what is art, or you know, how useful is it, or what value does it have? That's for each of us to kind of figure out. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know, the writing thing. It's just another thing. It's like you know, like my brain makes up things, and so sometimes I write things down, and sometimes they're good, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes they go places, and sometimes they turn into songs, and sometimes they just sit there and don't do anything.
And being an artist, do you feel that you have to share it with other people? Like you have to put it in a book. You have to share what you've created with other people.
Yeah, I think every artist that I've ever met, we all have, and there's 3 artists in here with Matt and you and me sitting here. We all have this thing where we're kind of like afraid of being judged, but we make things, so we are driven to share them with people. You know, what do you think of that? Do you like that? Do you? You know, I mean, and you think about the juxtaposition of how, like, the ego of not wanting to be judged, but then that you did this thing and you're like, my shit rocks, I'm going to share it with you.
Right.
What do you think of that? You dig that? You like it? You know, and so it's a weird little thing with artistic people.
Yep, it's both that fear and but I made it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's great.
And you know, punk rock and rock and roll is fun for that, because you can jump on a stage and, you know, you can just scream into a microphone for 30 minutes and you just feel better. It's like mental
right?
mental
The same
aerobics.
with being in an audience. It's like you can go to a show and you can just dance and sing along and just, you know, be in front of that band and get it out. And then you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And there's always that high after a show that you have. And yes, it's such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, we like, I know for Wrong Brothers, it's like one of those things where we're used to playing for like maybe a dozen people, maybe 20 people, you know, and we got to open for Crowbar a couple of years ago, and actually looking out at like just people, just a room full of people, and they actually were enjoying what we were doing. And it's like, oh, so this is what rock and roll is. This is that thing that the kids talk about.
Oh,
you know, it's fun. It's good stuff.
That's awesome. And so that's never been your goal with any of these things, to put them out there, to make money, is it just to share what you've created?
Yeah, I like making things. I mean, sure, it would be great, like if I was, you know, 20 years old again, and somebody said, hey, you know, we'd like to publish you, or you know, put out your record, or you know, put your work in a gallery or whatever, you know, I mean. Which, of course, I you know, for me, I can do that locally.
That's true. I've been to when you were up locally. Yeah.
I can call up, you know, anybody in Huntsville and say, hey, can we play there in a month from now? And they'll go, sure. And so you just show up and do your thing.
And there is an intimacy with local crowd and local people. Like you know, looking out and seeing all the people that you know and know you. Like, yes.
Yeah, very much.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm Selena Brillo. This is John Brad Posey with Invisible City and Wrong Brothers and Boneyard Mafia. And is there anywhere that people can see your art before we get off of here? If anybody wants to see your art and buy some copies or copies of your book, is there anywhere that they can get that stuff? I
mean, I'm on Facebook, John Bradley Posey, and I'm on Instagram. I think it's Brad Posey Radio. I think that's my address. I don't even know.
You're trying so hard to sell stuff.
Just you know, look for me. I might be on there.
Yes, right on. Okay, so I'm Selena Brillo. This is John Bradley Posey, and this has been DIY Live. Please, anything you want to say to end the show out with?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. That's 5 words. We did it. Haha. I've been asking people to do this thing where say 5 words of what you'd want people to know. That works out perfect. Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Thank
Selena.
you for having us.
Thank you,
and
Matt.
for everything that you do here in Huntsville and the radio station and all of that.
Same. Thanks for sharing the word.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That good, Matt?
Yep.